today. We're super excited. We want to share some behind the scenes stuff related to putting together a certification, the ups, the downs, the middles, the all the way arounds, because we really want to share this from the perspective of if you're somebody who's either interested in going through a certification, what does it require to put this together? Or maybe you've gone through a certification, you're like, I have no idea what my instructors did, how they put this stuff together. Like, could I actually do this myself? Or maybe you're at that point where you're thinking, I love what I do as a coach, and I'm going to help out so many other people, like teach them how to coach too. So no matter where you are, today's live stream is going to be for you. So we are Marc and Teresa from Modern Leadership Coaching. And we really love to help people elevate their coaching skills, their coaching confidence, to be able to help others achieve the goals that they really want to achieve, no matter what it is that's getting in your way. Whether it's having to do with relationships, growing your business, becoming a better coach, becoming a better leader. Maybe it's like you. We have a lot of people now recently who have been joining us who are actually like professional coaches in the realm of college related coaches and even in the professional level, because like when you understand a lot of what we teach in terms of coaching, not only do you have the strategies to be able to help people to take action, the steps, all that great stuff, but you also have the mindset. You also have the things that maybe could potentially get them stuck, and you have a way of unlocking it forever. And if you can't kind of tell, this is the reason why I love what I do as a coach, because I get to coach other coaches. And I'm married to you. So that also is a huge win. So how are you doing?
I'm good.
All right.
Good. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay. So here's what we're going to do, guys. As we go, we want you to type any questions that come up for you in the chat. But Teresa is going to be interviewing me today. She's going to be asking me the hard questions because she knows all the behind the scenes, including a conversation with an attorney that almost flopped everything that we're doing here today. But really, it was a decision that we had to make after going through this process. So while we go through this, we're going to share all those things with you. Teresa's going to be asking me questions. We're going to be asking you questions because that's how we roll here on Modern Leadership. But also, we want you to ask us any questions that come up. And no question is off the shelf, all right? Anything that comes to mind, whether you're somebody who's brand new to coaching, you're somebody who even got certified through me and my mentors program in the past, you're somebody who's never met us before, we want you to be open to asking all of the questions because this is a behind the scenes version of our YouTube live that we're actually streaming on Facebook. So thank you for making it here today. Without further ado, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to start by asking them a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're in the chat, you can type this out. So the question is, where are you at in your coaching journey right now? So are you brand new? Have you been doing this for a while? Or are you just curious about coaching? So if you type that into the chat, that would be awesome. We want this to be an interactive chat here. So as we go, you can drop whatever questions that you have. We're going to be looking at those and then we're going to answer them either at the end or whenever we see them. But we do want to answer all of your questions that you have if you have any here. So now I'm going to be interviewing you, right? Which is a little odd, but we wanted to do it this way because first off, Marc talks a lot and he likes to talk a lot. So
Wait.
So I drew the straw. I drew the short
now?
straw. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he is, he has a wealth of knowledge and he wanted to be able to answer all your questions. So now my first question is, what qualifies you to even create a certification? Right? Because can just anybody create a certification?
How dare you ask me that question? Are you questioning my authority? Really great question. And I'm going to answer this two different ways, but I also want to say hi to all our people here today. Cynthia's here. Tina, Aaron, what's going on? Sandra's here. Cheryl is here. By the way, Teresa always makes fun of me because I say Cheryl instead of Cheryl, or I don't know, but it's Cheryl. Edith is here. Cynthia, of course. You're 2 years in, Cynthia. It seems like you're 20 years in, my friend. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. Okay, so what qualifies me to actually create a certification? So I want to hit this from two different angles. And I think this will be helpful for a lot of people to kind of see, but also go through this process when it comes to what qualifies you to do what it is that you do, all right? So when I think about what qualifies me, so I have been a coach now for about 13 years. Now, not a coach in the respects of what we're teaching inside of our certification. I actually wasn't a coach. I was more of a mentor, even though I had the name coach, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things where coaching is like a universal word that people use. And there's a coach, but then there's somebody who actually understands true coaching, which is related to subconscious mind, your brain, how that works, mindset, what people talk about related to that. I didn't know any of that. And so while I was going through this process of 13 years, I got certified multiple different places. I know we were talking about this earlier. Like I became a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach. I became not a P90X, an insanity certified instructor, right? I had all of these certifications. And what I realized is over that period of time, I was learning all the strategies on what to do and how to help my clients get results, but not all of them were getting results. As a matter of fact, most of them weren't. And the reason why is because I didn't understand this whole idea and philosophy around true coaching. And what true coaching is like getting to the root of what's actually keeping people stuck. And it happens in health and fitness. It happens in relationships. It happens in the boardroom. It happens in so many different places that when you can get to the root of what's actually holding people back, it unlocks their potential and then unlocks yours too. Because like Zig Ziglar said, you can help enough people get what they want you can have anything you want when you help enough people get what they want. Right. And so when you have this process of, how to help them get more results, it helps you get more results in your business too. Right. But also in your life. And so while going through this process, I spent about 7 years not understanding how to really coach people. It was just more of what I was mentoring. Hey, this is how I lost 100 pounds. This is how I did this. This is how I did that, which was great because at least I was trying to help somebody. But it was not great because I didn't have all the tools. I had the half of the equation. Now, when we teach this inside of the certifications, the difference between an adaptive versus a technical challenge. But a lot of people become a coach to solve technical problems. Mm-hmm. However, right now with all the technology, we know that technical problems and details like that are not the only part, because you could just Google search it or AI search it and you should be able to succeed, right? It's the human elements that we really need to get in there and be able to help people, right? So at the 7-year mark, that's when I became a certified coach, which means I started to understand what was going on in here. And yes, it helped me lose 100 pounds. Yes, it helped me raise up the ranks of LAPD because I was an LAPD sergeant for, worked there for 20 years. It helped me elevate the relationship with you and with the kids. And all of these things stemmed from learning how to actually coach and how my mind works. And so going through that process, I learned a lot. And that's why our mentor, Josh Coates, reached out to me and said, hey, what if we teamed up to create a certification, right? Because I had the life coaching part on hat. And he had the performance-based coaching because he's really heavy into performance-based coaching, which was married together into the certification that I co-created. And we taught a lot of these coaches how to coach, right? And going through that process, I learned that there was actually some other things that I, number one, needed to learn, but wanted to share with other people because I found there's other ways to be able to coach that were universal principles that people didn't really understand because they were just using one specific framework. And they were like, oh, this is something that just helps people in this area or this area or this area. So since then, I've certified over 200 coaches, 10 master coaches, right? And we decided to do this on our own, right? We decided we were going to take those things that we learned, marry them up with a lot of time spent in the dad edge, which is a lot about relationships, parenting, spousing, if that's a word, and how we could elevate those relationships. And then also jumping into more of boardroom executive coaching, learning how to take what it is that I learned and implement it into the boardroom, into organizations that can afford to pay coaches a lot of substantial money because that's something that's in the budget, right? Mm-hmm. And so by being able to pull all of these things together, that's what, and I don't want to say qualified because let's be honest, anybody can create a life or coaching certification because there's no governing body around all of it. Mm-hmm. You're going to see people who are into energy work. You're going to see people who are into working out. You're going to see people who are into, and there's so many different avenues that it's a resource that anybody can create a certification. Yes, you should have some things in place, and we're going to talk about some of that today, but anybody can do that. But you have to also have the belief that it's possible for you because of what I just shared. All of those things from my past helps give me what we term as confidence because you've done it before to be able to step into this. Because this isn't I'm going to put out this course and see if it's going to work. Number one, I know it's going to work because I've helped change people's lives because of it. But number two is because I know that all the things that I'm giving to people is going to help them out in different spaces and different avenues. And I feel more of feeling compelled that I need to do this rather than let's do this for a business decision. Mm-hmm. We're reading this really powerful book that talks about the difference between your zone of excellence and your zone of genius. My zone of excellence is coaching, facilitating, having great conversations, one-on-ones. Even our Coach Accelerator, I really feel is my zone of excellence. I'm good at doing those things. My zone of genius is teaching coaches how to coach. And I feel every time that I get away from it or I don't do it often, I feel like I need to do this more. So what qualifies me is, yes, all those qualifications and all those that history of me being able to lead and do all those things for 13 years as a coach, but also my heart and desire to want to give whatever I can to everyone so that they can have the frameworks to be able to make a bigger impact in their lives and the people that they coach. That's what I feel like really qualifies me, because it's something I feel like I need to do. I'm feeling compelled to do it, and I love doing it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the first answer related to that. The second answer related to like what qualifies me is what I was talking about earlier. Like there's nothing in place that says you can't run a certification. Yes, having the confidence, having a framework, having skills, developing what you've developed and giving it to other people, I think is powerful. But I also don't want to take it to light. Not anybody could put together a certification, even though technically you could. Because not only is it the combination of the skills and the frameworks and all the things that you put together, it's a lot of hard work to do this.
Mhm.
How long have you been working on it? Like yesterday was like the 17th reiteration of the workbook that we have together, which we're going to show them a little bit later. But it's like, how do you take 13 years of experience and put it together in a program? And then put it together in a program in a way that people are going to be able to learn, experience, not just like watch a bunch of modules, but actually practice it and have a full mastery of it. That's what we have been getting to work at, right? Mm-hmm. That's why it's taken so much longer than, hey, let's just slap some, price tag on this and put it out there. Because this kind of thing, like I really feel like you need to go all in and figure it all out. Not all of it out, but you need to like figure out those processes so that you can make this a duplicatable system that people can plug into.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's my question.
I love that. I love that response. Very thorough. And obviously we're going to talk more into detail of like behind the scenes of what's going on. But there was a couple of things that you said that I think are, worth repeating. Like the whole thing about how you have been coaching for so long, what you thought was coaching, right? Yep. That you thought that telling people what to do was coaching. And that's a common misconception about coaching, any type of coaching, right? That you just tell people what to do because you know what to do. But true coaching is really understanding what is going on in people's minds and their thoughts and how that drives their behavior and how they can actually reframe those thoughts in order to achieve what they want to achieve. Mm-hmm. And I think that is super powerful. And it's like, it's a universal thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because anybody can take advantage of that, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody can use that skill. And also the other thing is the whole concept of you're not just getting like a bunch of modules. Like we didn't spend all of this time just to put together like lesson plans to just like push them off to you and then you figure it out. It's like Mark is there. It's like it's a weekly thing. We'll go into some of those details, but like he is there because he's so passionate about this. And, I'm there as well, but it's like, we're so passionate about this that we take you through this journey. We take you through a process week after week to help you understand first, how to do this yourself, but then how you can actually help other people. And, we didn't just do this like on a weekend. It's like we really, really like went through this and wanted to have this process that would really help people and fine tuning it and all of the lessons that we learned and putting it all in like a really great package. And I know that this is the first iteration, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to grow and it's going to get better. But what we've put into this is like a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple things I want to hit up before you go to the next question is like, no matter where you are, like, I just want to make sure that like none of this comes across as there's something wrong with the way that you're doing it, or you're not doing it right, or you're a part of the wrong certification, because in my opinion, there is no wrong certification. I'm glad that I took every single one that I did because it helped me build and piece together both the things to do and the things not to do. Because I learned some things what not to do, right? Mm-hmm. Just like we sometimes learn that from our parents, what to do and what not to do, mm-hmm. right? It's all about the learning experience. But I want to make sure that you don't grab onto that, because this is one of those things that, like, when I think about coaching, I think about adding it into whatever you're doing helps elevate your software program in here so that you can run better programs. So what I mean is, like, I've taught this to people who are like, let's say, accountants. All right. So I have a very specific accountant who learned a little bit about the details around your brain in coaching. Right. And so she's exceptional at numbers, tracking, spreadsheets. This is what you're going to get back from when it comes to like the income and what you're getting back with taxes, right? But now marrying this to how your brain works and how she can actually help her clients with overcoming limiting beliefs, that's something that doesn't happen in the quote unquote accounting world. So anything that you add to that is like it's like extra on top of that, right? So also want to share that like when you go through a certification, it doesn't reprogram everything that you've done ever and say that you can't do that anymore. It just makes whatever you're doing better. It made me better father. It made me a better husband. Still not the best, still working on it. It's a work in progress, but it's one of those things where you upgrade everything in your life. So even if you're not interested in business, but you're interested in upgrading your life or in upgrading how you coach or whatever, all those things are things that you're able to do in this space, which is why I'm so passionate about it. Like business is cool. I love it. Like I do love it a lot. It gave us the opportunity to leave our full-time jobs and come and be at home and just do random things like this, where we're setting up videos in our kitchen and getting to sit here and like actually have a conversation, right? But when I think about like what coaching actually did for us in our lives and our connection and just family and just all the things that it's helped us overcome and all the things that come up that it helps us overcome, including what we're going to talk about here a little bit later, that's really where the power is. That's why I really feel like coaching is that universal language that helps elevate everything that you're doing. So that's why I always think about like, because so many people think about coaching as just me telling people what to do or directions or anything like that, or having to change everything. And it's not. It's just you understanding, being more like familiar with psychology, how your brain works, how other people's brains work, and then how you can actually help everybody achieve what they want to achieve. Right. So, all right. So I think I got us off track.
No. I think it's important what you discussed. So moving on to like, why we're building this. Like you went over a lot of those things. And some of the questions that I had was like, if there was like a moment that kind of sparked this idea, or if there was anything missing that kind of led to you doing this project. I know you kind of went through that, but I think maybe the one about like, was there a moment that kind of sparked the idea?
Yep. So this was back before I actually got certified as a coach. I was a part of a mastermind group. And by the way, this is one of those things like as a coach, guys, I hope you guys are all doing this. I hope you're modeling the behavior that you want to see in your clients, which means that you are getting coaching and while you're actually helping them and coaching them too. All right. It's one of those things where if you're down in the trenches, there's so much more integrity that's there, but also so much more influence by you being willing to do that. But I was in a mastermind group. Mastermind for Fathers. As a matter of fact, this is the one that I actually now get to teach in, which I'm so lucky to be able to team up with Larry Hagner and the guys in the boardroom to be able to do that. But I was going through an exercise where I was thinking about what's called compelling images. This is something we talk about in the certification, but compelling images are like things that you're running towards. And the clearer that you can get with those pictures, the clearer that you can figure out what that end goal is, the better that you have a way of like designing a plan to help you get there. Now, when I was doing this, they asked me to unfilter my mind and to answer this question. Like, what do I see myself doing in 5 years? And they went through this process that we teach. And by pulling this out, I looked down at the paper and I had no idea how I wrote this, but I said, I'm teaching coaches how to coach. At the time, I was not certified. At the time, I had no idea what that would even look like. And I kind of laughed. And it was funny because the guys in the call are like, what's up? Like, what did you write? And I'm like, well, I just wrote down, I teach coaches how to coach. And they're like, that's what I call a vision. That's one of those things where you have no idea where it came from, but we're going to find ways to run towards that. And it was funny because about 6 months after that is when Josh reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to start a certification with me? And that's really what got the ball rolling is being in that environment. Honestly, teaching in the certification when I didn't even feel qualified got me to the point where I felt more qualified, and it got me to be able to reach more people, to connect with more people, and to utilize my skills. Because I always think that if I want to learn something, the best way for me to learn it is to teach it. Mm-hmm. So putting together that stuff, all of those things, which was important because it allowed us to be able to put this together, right? Because now we have all the details because we actually have done it. I've done it for like 200 people that we've certified through it. But being able to go through that process, I think about that time often where I'm like, what would have happened if I had filtered it? Mm-hmm. What would have happened if I had not been willing to write down that I'm going to actually help teach coaches how to coach, right? Mm-hmm. Or if I was like, that's stupid, I'm never going to think about that again. But instead it was in there. It was planted in there. And I reminded myself of it. And it was funny because 6 months later is when Josh reached out. And who knows, like maybe he wouldn't have, right? Or maybe he would have, but if I hadn't planted that seed, maybe I wouldn't have been open to it, right? Mm-hmm. But it just sparked the trajectory in terms of what we're doing now, mm-hmm. right? Being able to do that, being able to have those reps under me, being able to coach so many people, and then seeing But there's another level for me where you and I do this, right? Where we do it and it's a combination of some other modalities and stuff that we have personally learned and a way of simplifying it, right? And by being able to like to lean into that, I think it's like was that spark that actually got us to be where we're at today. So that's what comes to mind when you say like, was there a moment?
Yeah, I love that. And now I want to ask you guys. So, what's like a moment or maybe like a feeling that kind of sparked you into going into coaching?
Good question. Good question. I want to hear from that. Like, definitely type in the chat, guys. Say that again?
What is a moment or maybe even a feeling that kind of sparked you to go into coaching?
Yeah. So many times like when you think about all of the things that coaching have done for you, how it's helped you transform, whether you've actually been officially a coach or not officially a coach, or you've just had a mentor, by the way, you've read books, like all of these different ways are different ways that we lead each other. We lead ourselves. And sometimes it could be through coaching. Sometimes it could be from like mentoring, but typically we'll grab all these things together and call them coaching. Right. But what is it that sparked that interest in you? What is it that even made you come to this call today? Because no random person just decides to watch a call about like starting a certification without having some type of burning desire. And maybe it's a direct or indirect one, but you don't just randomly stop here and then keep watching, right? There's something inside of you that's pulling you. And I really do believe like things happen for a reason, but only if we like take action on it, right? Only if we like take it as a sign and just, move on with it. So, all right. I want to hear those questions, but I also want to keep going.
Yeah. So now let's kind of go into these like different types of coaching, right? So why did you choose to marry these types of coaching, like the life and performance coaching?
Yeah. And I'll keep this one shorter because we're already 22 minutes in. Can you believe that? And I've answered like 2 questions. So when I think about like how I can show up and help my clients, it is helping them navigate 2 different types of challenges. All right. And like I said, this is something we teach really deep inside of the certification, but it's like the difference between an adaptive challenge and a technical challenge. Okay. Now, the adaptive challenge is what we've been talking a lot about today because most people struggle with adaptive challenges, which is getting themselves to show up, to take action, to do it repeatedly, and to do it with a level of energy that is like inspiration, motivation, excitement. They're like leaning in and using that energy for good, right? And so those are the adaptive challenges. And we do that by asking questions, by taking people through a framework and being able to get them to see what's going on in their brain and seeing it instead of just experiencing it, seeing it from like a third person's point of view so you can take control. There's a difference between a subject and an object. So subject means I'm going through this, I'm feeling this way, this person is making me do this, or that I don't have enough time, versus taking yourself out of it and seeing yourself as the object and going, oh, so this is the reason why my brain's doing that, right? And so that's the first thing in terms of like the life coaching part of it is helping people overcome the adaptive challenges. But then there's people out there who do need advice. They do need to know what are the steps, what action can I take? And they do need to be held accountable. That's why we marry this with not only the adaptive challenges, but also overcoming the technical challenges, being able to help use your expertise, no matter what it is, to help them overcome that. Because here's the thing, like if I'm, for example, trying to run Facebook ads, I could be like, I'm the greatest person ever. I'm going to reach so many people. I want to make a huge impact. But if I don't know what to put in the headline, if I don't know what to put with the opt-in page, if I don't know how to connect it to my email list, it doesn't matter. And so when we think about what we do in the certification, it's the mixture of both the adaptive challenges. And by the way, adaptive challenges in multiple different ways. So most people think of like adaptive challenges in their business or adaptive challenges on the field if they, coaching baseball or whatever, right? But the adaptive challenges happen everywhere. They happen in your personal life. They happen when your alarm clock goes off. They happen in so many other areas. It helps you take control of those things so you can show up on your A game when that time comes that you need to be on your A game, right? But then the technical challenges is helping people pull out their expertise, what they're really good at, and helping them share that in a way that doesn't feel like, hey, this is the only way to do this, but sharing it in a way and structure so that you can actually help people achieve their results. So those 2 things like married up is really powerful. It's when you can overcome any challenge that your client is facing you because you have multiple different skills and talents and you've mastered it. That's why I combine them, because it's not just one side of that, because I see a lot of certifications that are just one-sided. And that's okay if that's just the way that either you're wired, but there's a beautiful synergy in the middle. And it's why we are taking so much time to put this together and make sure we have all those synergies together.
Yeah. And I think that overall, we just wanted to have like a comprehensive program that would touch on those things. Like I think the most important things, right? And having those skills is like something that you can take, with you in any aspect of life.
Yep.
right? So you can use that in your career, you can use that at home, you can use it anywhere.
Mhm.
So I think like having something like that, which is so comprehensive, is the thing that we knew we needed to do.
Mhm.
Were you gonna
There's
answer a
so many
question?
different, like
Yeah,
so many
I know.
different feedback. Like Cynthia was like, when my husband was dealing with cancer, I needed it for me and to have
Mhm.
leaned in on how much I can share with others. Cynthia totally leaned into coaching and having like really deep conversations. Proud of you, friend. Tina, my own life journey, going through so much stuff, inspired me to be a coach and help others. Drew says, I've been a mentor, but would like to see others have more success. Yes, my friend. And the way that you show up, Drew, is next level. Tina, same for you. Like when I see you coaching and teaching and training, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch you. Aaron says, helping people who are going through things that I've been through but dealt with alone. Absolutely. One of the things that Erin does is she's like a VA. And when she understands life coaching, she understands how to have conversations in the messages, which is what most VAs don't know how to do. They can just copy and paste. So she brings another level to it, but obviously she's also able to help people go through struggles that they're going through, even the people that she's serving, right?
Mhm.
Sandra says, dealing with many life issues has showed me that there is more to life, and I want to be a mentor or coach to someone and share my story with them 100%. And Cheryl says, sitting in your live workshop in July 2023, I attended because I wanted to help people stop regressing, giving up on themselves and their dreams. Life coaching was the missing piece. I love that, friend. I love it. All right. So by the way, is Andrew messaging you? Right
Yeah.
now? All right. So our son, he went to like a
Summer
running
camp.
where he's running and he's lifting weights, and he's probably trying to message you saying he needs
No,
to
he's
come
done.
He's done. You're like, hey, you're gonna have to wait because we're on live on YouTube and
Yeah.
and Facebook, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. So you wanna
I should
power
just
through some
share the
questions?
link with him so he can watch us. As he
You probably
races.
should.
Okay, yeah. So let's go into like the really exciting part about like what this looks like inside, like showing like the structure of the program. So can you share that with everyone?
Yeah. And I know I keep saying I'll do this quick. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Normally we only have 30-minute live streams, but I think this is really important. And that is like, when I think about like, first off, my brain is detail oriented. Like I'm not the type of person where I'm going to go into a call and I'm going to wing it. And I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm just going to teach them like whatever comes up for me. There are some teachers and trainers that are amazing at that. But the way that my brain works is thinking about the details from the beginning all the way to the end, beginning with the end in mind, what I want the coach to be able to be capable of doing, which for me is mastery of the tools and mastery of being able to like step into a conversation, knowing they're going to be able to help out anybody through any situation they go through and having the full confidence to be able to do that. And then I think about from the person who's just getting started, whether you're just brand new or you've never learned about this level of coaching, how do I get them from here to here? And my brain instantly goes into the steps that it takes. Now, I don't want to go into like all of the details, but just know that like, because of my brain is very detailed like this, it is a comprehensive process that takes you from the beginning stages, meaning even if you've never coached before, you've never had a conversation with somebody, how to have a conversation, into all the way mastering these steps and these tools. All right. Now, for the beta launch, by the way, we haven't really talked about this, but we're launching it in July. July 12th is the first day. This is going to be a 7-month program. We're thinking about making it a 6-month program, but really to be able to take somebody from there to here and working out the details, it feels like better a 7-month program for the beta launch, right? But when we think about like the pillars, the first pillar is more like the foundations. It's the foundations of coaching. And how do you coach? How do you put your true coach hat on and not give people opinion, advice, jump in the pool is what we term, and you stay in your lane as a coach, and you don't allow any of their beliefs to take hold in you, and you don't allow any of your beliefs to take hold in them. All right. Because that's one of the most powerful things you could do as a coach, is hold space for them. And we teach you through that process of step 1, step 2, step 3, and help you build up to that. The second phase is more of like an integration. How do you integrate this coaching with what you currently do? Some of you guys might not do any of that, right? Some of you might already be coaches in certain aspects. Some of you might be health and fitness coaches or coaching college or whatever that is. We ask ourselves, like, how do we implement what we've learned here into your real life situations? And we actually get you to coach. By the way, all of this stuff is not just learning through modules. Like we said earlier, this is live teaching along with you being able to implement live on the call, actually getting some feedback from us and leaving knowing that you can 100% do this, right? And then the third piece is mastery. Is how do we take everything that we've learned and really become a master of it, right? Requires a lot of coaching, requires a lot of feedback, and requires a lot of like extra things for you to learn and implement. But it's something that over 7 months, first off, I wish I had this when I was first getting started, so I didn't have to go through all that pain for 13 years. But being able to have this as a framework would have been super powerful for me to have. So that's kind of the structure that we have in place.
Yeah. So can you show them like a little bit of a sample of like the, the workbook? Because I just, I worked really hard on it.
You did. By the way, Teresa works exceptionally hard on this. So before I share this, and I need to get to the page that we need to be on, what we like to do is we like to think about like the things that we wish we had when we were coaching people, especially when it comes to the first time, and questions that we could have asked, directions that we could have taken them, frameworks that we could have used, and things that would set us up, not just to get somebody to sign up. All right. No, that's when the work begins, my friend, is after you get somebody to sign up and become a client of yours. The next thing is like, how do you get them incredible results? And then at the end, how do you get them to feel on fire and that there's a next iteration, whether they decide to keep working with you, which is what happens with a lot of our coaches, or they decide to go to that next level, being able to have all of that process written down, which is why I want to share with like one of the worksheets with you is actually page 40. All right. I don't want to overwhelm you, but we put a lot of time and energy, like I said, into this. So to make sure you have everything that you need, but I'm going to post it up. I'll put it up on the screen. Okay. So this is something I'm really, really proud of because this is called the reflection session. Okay. So there's different sessions that we take clients through. And this is something that isn't just one avenue. This is any time that you're coaching someone. When you get to a certain point, you want to find out like what has been working, what is not working, and what tweaks and adjustments need to be made so that you can continue to achieve your goals, right? We talk about this as like, you need 2 points to figure out like how to get to your destination. Number 1 is you need where you're at. And number 2 is you need where you want to go. But after you start going, you're going to find that like some road construction has popped up. You're going to find that they decided to reroute people in different routes. So you have to be willing to have these conversations to figure out which path you can go and how you can really help your clients achieve results. Because like they say, the way that you think it's going to end is never the way that it ends. Mm-hmm. But if we just do this at the beginning and then we wait all the way to the end and we're like, hey, do you want to keep working with us? That's really not how you help people get incredible results. You have to give them reflection points. This is one of the worksheets that we put together to do that. Now, what we typically will do is we actually taught this to people inside of the Coach Accelerator. And by them using this and implementing it, they had more clients sign up than they've ever had before. After they've actually got to the end of their sessions, they continued to be clients with them. Not because there's a way of like tricking people into becoming your clients. That's not what we do here. What we do is we show people how much they've seen in terms of like progress, what they've been able to learn, and then what the next level of learning is. And so we have a worksheet here that we help, that we want people to go through, our clients to go through. And by going through this process, you're able to help pull out some of the best of the best of the past, things that are working, but also hit on things that aren't going to work. And we take them through a process called Start, Stop, Continue. Mm-hmm. And at the end of this, you will be amazed at how many people that you help elevate. We call it evolve to the next level so they can continue to grow. And they still want to keep in growing with you because you're there to help them and you've guided them along this way. We've noticed that if people don't do this, their clients get stuck or they're like, I'll figure this out on my own. How many of you guys either said that yourself or had a client that says that yourself, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 months later, you find out they get back to their old way of living. That's why like having this structure that we teach inside of the program makes it so that you don't have that happen. All right. Or at least the least likelihood to make it happen, because ultimately it's up to your client. But the way that you ask those questions are really important and really powerful. And that's just an example of one of the workbook pages. So you want to talk about the 37 other ones that you had?
No.
I appreciate you for that, by the way. You totally crushed that workbook stuff. All right. So we're getting close to the end.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about kind of like the roadblocks we had to go through in this process as well. Let's talk about a little bit about the legality of things and, not just, hey, we just decided to do this and we just went ahead and did it. We had to go through some process ourselves. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
No, I don't. I don't want to talk about any of that. So about halfway when we were putting this all together, and we've been putting this together for months and months and months, we decided to reach out to our attorney and ask just like what's required for a certification.
And this is a trademark and licensing attorney.
Yeah. So what's required to do this? Like, what do we need to know? What are some things that we like need to have in place? And the conversation that we had was eventful and a little bit exciting, but also a little bit deflating afterwards, right? So she was talking about like the things that you have to have in place, the processes that you have in place, the trademarks, the copyright, things where you're protecting your students and the people who go through the program. So this is something that can't be taken away. All right. So it's one of those things where I didn't even know that this was a thing. Right. And she guided us through this process and we learned so much through it. But there's one piece that stung right? We got off. We were super excited. We're like, yeah, like this is going to be the name of our certification. And about 3 hours later, we found out that was not going to be the name of our certification. It's one of those things where, like, when you use a name like modern leadership, we could not use that in any of what we said, what we talked about, because there is a modern leadership kind of like institute or academy or something like that that prevented us from being able to use that. And so we had to put the brakes on. We had to stop. We had to figure out what we're going to do. We had to change a couple different things, and just like thinking about this, like legality wise, like, and here's the truth, like lawyers are amazing and incredible, and they're there to protect us. They're there to make sure all of our ducks in a row so that we don't have a problem 6 months, 6 years down the road. And we're like, I wish we had done that back then, right? Instead, we had to slow down. We had to make sure all of our ducks were in a row, because we really do want to not only make sure that we can help people, but make sure that we protect everybody involved, right? So by the way, if you do decide to ever put together a certification, please talk to an attorney, somebody who is familiar with like the codes, the information based off of where you are. I know I actually have a friend in Australia who's going to be putting together something, and they have like different things, different rules in terms of what they can and can't do. But you really need to do that, not only for you, but for the people that you're going to help teach and train. All right. Because ultimately that's who it's all about. Like, this is all about you guys and how I can really help as much as possible. And if it takes pain and a lot of money to be able to do this, to be able to put all these things in place, I'm all for it, because it's gonna be that foundation that we later go, I'm so thankful that we were able to do that. Right?
Yeah. Thankful that, we'll go through the pain now, to not experience the pain later. It was kind of a fun process, but then also frustrating, but it's okay. Like that's something we just have to go through. So,
yep. I mean, we grow through so many other things, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, I want to kind of like help with, really understanding where you're coming from and like what this truly means to you. So, what does this project represent to you?
Oh, that's a tough one. And the only reason why is because I feel like it is my duty and responsibility to share what has changed my life the most with people. And like one of the ways that I've noticed that I've kind of have made another error in terms of like even emailing and messaging and talking to people is I've talked about it so much around like creating a business. And I know we talked about this earlier, but like, yes, I do think there's a lot of great opportunity in terms of businesses. Like, they're actually hiring. I mean, we've had people reach out to us and say, hey, do you have somebody who's a coach who can help us and we can hire them in this area, right? But like, that is just the smallest result that you will get from learning how to coach. You will learn how to lead and coach yourself, which I really do believe is the most important thing of all. Like when I wrote my book, Mastering Your Life Through Self-Coaching, like, it was like, the reason why I wrote that is because I really feel like I have a tool that will help people change their life forever. And I must share it with them. Even if they tell me no, even if they say, oh, I already got to have certification, or even if they say this isn't for me, I feel like I need to meet them and share it and not make the decision for them and let them decide what they want to do. Right. Because coaching, and like I said, I'm not like underplaying this, in every area of my life, it has helped me to excel well beyond what I could have beforehand. I mean, you don't lose 100 pounds and now keep it off now for like 10, 15 years. You don't go through all the things that I did as a police officer and just automatically think the way that I do, right? There has been so many lessons, and I feel like my purpose is to share this with people so they don't have to experience that, but so they have a path to actually their version of success. So that's why I feel like this project is like the culmination of all that.
Yeah. That's awesome. So now I have a question for all of you. What does coaching actually mean to you? It's like, what does it represent for you in your life?
I love it.
So just type that in the chat.
I love it. And by the way, for those of you guys who are coaches, I would love to hear that. But even for those of you who don't call yourself a coach, right? We actually have somebody in our Coach Accelerator. He doesn't like the word coach, and that's okay. You don't have to like the word coach. But if you're inspiring, you're mentoring, you're providing people with feedback, you're answering questions, you're being the support person for them, my friend, you are coaching. We also call that leadership. That's why we call this modern leadership, right? Because it's all about leading people, not just leading when it's easy, not just leading when it's all given to us, not just leading from where we're at, but we lead in all directions because we know, especially when times are hard, that is exactly what the world needs, right? I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this, but the world needs a little bit more leadership right now. Not leadership in terms of telling people what to do, but having the conversations that you need to have in that moment to help you think differently, for you to be able to have this be a win-win instead of a win-lose situation. And that's what coaching does. It gives you the ability to actually find that win-win, but it makes you like into the type of leader that we need more than ever right now. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for all of the feedback that you guys gave. Oh, by the way, if you are interested in like learning about the beta launch, we have the certification, you want to be a part of it, you just have questions about it, I'll have Kurt put up the link, modernleadership.us/certification. There's a wait list. We can share all the details with you there. This wasn't the purpose of this live stream. I wanted to share a little bit on my heart in terms of like what we're doing, the impact that we're making. And I also want you to look at coaches a little differently. Like, especially coaches who understand the philosophy that we just talked about here today, all of the beautiful and amazing humans that are here on the call with us, like they're doing like this kind of work. This is how they're unlocking for their clients the ability of them succeeding and excelling no matter what area it is. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you for being willing to do that, for showing up for people in that way when maybe sometimes it seems like we want this more for other people than we want it for ourselves. But that's what leaders do. We show up anyway, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. I just want to say I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you for leading from the front, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.